So writing YouTube scripts is one of the things that takes a really long time with most YouTubers. And it's one of the things that stops them from being able to consistently upload content. So many people will spend, 4 hours on a script, sometimes even 10 hours just writing a script. And then obviously it becomes a full-time job if you want to do the rest of the video making process. Sometimes even just one video per week is a full-time job. I was actually just talking to a client on the phone last night, and she told me that she spends, before she started working with me, she was spending 30 hours a week making one video per week. And the majority of that time was spent on the script writing. So this is something that you really need to figure out. And after years of testing and helping dozens of clients scale to 7 and 8 figures, I've cracked the code on it. Okay, I know how to write scripts efficiently, effectively. And today I'm going to be revealing my 30-minute script formula that turns viewers into customers, even if you're only getting a few hundred views per video. No more writer's block, no more scripts that don't convert, and no more wasted hours. And all I ask in return is that you gently tap that like button. And let's jump into it right now. Step one is you want to define your video's purpose and audience. So this is kind of something that you would do beforehand. Obviously, I can't help you choose your niche in this video. You have to know what your niche is, but I do have other videos about that. But you'd basically start by clarifying the goal of your video and who it's for to ensure your script delivers targeted value. And so you'd select a topic that you're knowledgeable about, right? A niche, aka personal finance, tech solutions, fitness tips. And then you really want to build a focused niche, right? So not just like a broad niche, like those things that I talked about, but something more focused. So each niche, you're going to be focused on a specific group. You're going to solve a clear problem, and it has a special method to differentiate itself. So basically, I help X do Y by Z. That's the easiest way to understand your niche and also understand what the video is about, because you can, have slightly different variations of that niche in different videos. So remote work career coach, for instance, I help 9-to-5 employees transition to remote careers by teaching them high income, low experience skills without needing a college degree. Target audience here is burned out office workers. Problem solved is escaping the 9-to-5 and working remotely. And the unique mechanism is high income skills shortcut that don't necessarily require a degree. Another example of this for a niche, that last one was in the make money online niche. Another example in the fitness niche would be I help busy entrepreneurs get fit in under 30 minutes a day with my efficiency training system without needing a gym membership. And the target audience is entrepreneurs and business owners. The problem solved is getting in shape despite no time. And the unique mechanism is efficiency training system, short workouts, no gym. And in this case, they actually added a little bit of an extra thing, which is the without needing a gym membership. So in especially saturated niches, you can do I help X do Y by Z without A, right? So that without would be something that kind of irritates them, right? So really busy people, maybe they don't really have time to go to the gym, and so they can work out on their own without having to go to the gym. And so that last part might attract them. And then number 3 is spiritual self-development for men. So I help ambitious men tap into their spiritual side and achieve inner peace by using my warrior monk framework without giving up their edge. So this would be an example of, first we had the money niche, that's kind of a broad niche. Then we had the fitness niche, health, right? That's another niche. Third, we have relationships or happiness and also spirituality. Those are kind of all in the same. So I help ambitious men tap into their spiritual side and achieve inner peace by using my warrior monk framework without giving up their edge. And this is the target audience is ambitious, success-driven men. The problem solved is finding inner peace without losing ambition. And the unique mechanism is the warrior monk framework, right? So so these are 3 really good examples. I could come up with more, but it's actually very important that you have this written out because you are going to be putting this into various different AI software, and it's going to help the AI do a just like infinitely better job making the content, right? Now, by the way, if you're having trouble finding something like this, if you're having trouble finding your niche, or even just for a specific video, because different videos might have slightly different niches, like within your overall niche, we do have a custom GPT that's a niche validator, and you can check that out down in the description in the pinned comment below. It's actually an amazing tool. If you don't have a niche yet, basically it's going to help you formulate your own niche or find like a sub niche within your niche to talk about within your videos. So definitely just click the link in the description and the pinned comment below. It's super, super valuable. So next you're going to set a purpose, and this is where you decide what action you want viewers to take. For instance, subscribe, download a free resource, comment, etc. So for example, I want viewers to download my free budgeting template. That would be an example of the purpose or the goal of your content. Other examples might be, I want my viewers to book a free SMMA scaling call, or I encourage SaaS founders to download a churn reduction checklist, or prompt consultants to join a lead generation webinar, or get e-commerce owners to sign up for an email funnel template, or motivate coaches to access a LinkedIn outreach script, or have people check out my various different affiliate offers to see if anything relates to them. So it's very important that you actually have a purpose for your video, right? So you know that like this video, like what is the next thing somebody is going to do after they watch the video? It's very important that you know what that is, right? What next step you want them to take. And then next you want to understand your audience. So you want to define your viewers' demographics, right? So their age, their interests, their gender, and their psychographics as well. So their goals, their pain points, etc. So an example of this would be millennials seeking financial independence. So another example would be agency owners, 25 to 40, struggling to land $10,000 clients. Another example would be SaaS CEOs, 30 to 50, aiming to reduce customer churn by 20%. Another one would be consultants, 35 to 55, seeking consistent lead flow. Another one would be e-commerce marketers, 28 to 45, wanting higher email open rates, etc., etc. And then the next step, step 2, is you want to select a script formula. So choose a format that aligns with your niche and content style for maximum engagement. And by the way, guys, when I'm showing you this stuff on the screen, I might cut ahead or even speed up the video just, for your viewing pleasure, just to save you time. And some common formats here that a lot of people have success with are listicles. So 5 ways to save $1,000 this year. These are great for quick, actionable tips. They're very easy to consume. Anyone can listen to them at any time. It doesn't take a lot of energy or brain power to kind of follow along. So these tend to do really well and they tend to get a lot of views. However, in some cases, they may not get a lot of sales. How-tos, on the other hand, like how to create a budget in 10 minutes, these are usually kind of like high-level overviews. They're a little bit, like they can also get a lot of views, and they're a little bit more engaging, but they also require the person to pay a little bit more attention. Then you've got step-by-step guides. So an example of this would be step-by-step guide to building a budget spreadsheet. And these are really detailed instructions. So they go step-by-step exactly how to do something. And these are more engaging, but they also require the person to pay more attention, right? So if it's a step-by-step guide, you're probably going to be doing a lot of stuff on the screen, and it requires them to actually pay attention to the video in order to get value from it. Whereas a listicle and sometimes even a how-to, they can kind of just like passively watch the video. They don't have to really pay as much attention. And then case studies are really good, like how I paid off 10K in debt in 6 months. It can be like story driven with results as well. And all of these work really well, but to be completely honest with you, all formats are essentially listicles. If you think about it, like obviously the listicle format we talked about is a listicle. The how-to format is also a listicle because it's a high-level overview, but you focus on the most important steps. And what are those steps? Those are listicles. The step-by-step guide is obviously a listicle because it's a step-by-step guide. And what is that? It's a list. It's a listicle. Case studies are listicles because you focus on the most important parts of the person's journey to get the result that they wanted. That's what a case study is. And what is that? The most important parts? It's a listicle. Even books are chapters. They're made up of chapters, so they're listicles. Movies are made up of acts, so they're listicles, right? So basically everything at its core is a listicle. And if you think about it that way, content becomes much easier to write. And listicles are really great to write as well because they're just easy to structure and they keep viewers engaged. So start with a listicle for simplicity. You can do a pure listicle where it literally is a listicle, or if you do the other ones, write it as if it is a listicle, okay? So an example of this would be 7 beginner mistakes to avoid when starting a business. Step 3, you want to research and find inspiration. So you want to gather data and inspiration to make your script credible and engaging. So use reliable sources like Glassdoor, LinkedIn, or maybe government websites, for instance, for fact-based content. So we're going to go ahead and make a very simple script in this video. It's going to be called 5 Ways to Save Money. And when it comes to the niche and like the niche hypothesis statement, as well as the information about the niche, like the demographics, etc. I'll just put them up on the screen right now and you can see them. So one really good source of information for ways to save money is actually a subreddit called r/personal finance. Now this subreddit not only has a lot of people that give really good information and they give reviews on things and all that kind of thing, but they also just have a bunch of really good guides on the subreddit itself. So you can either go into the search box and type what you're looking for and choose a recent one for credibility, or you can also just look at their resources and guides because there's a lot of really good information in there as well. And this is information that has really been highly vetted by a community of people who are quite skeptical about most personal finance advice. So you can rest assured that this information is relatively accurate and it's pretty high quality. Although you could argue that people in the subreddit are kind of, more used to not taking any risks and basically being very conservative with their finances, but that's fine. So yeah, you go ahead and find that. So the next step that you want to do is either find a successful video or channel in your niche, or actually more preferable is find somebody that's outside of your niche, but they have a similar audience to you. So just as an example, you might find Graham Stephan for finance, and you can basically just note the hook, structure, and the CTAs. So just as another example, you've got Alex Hormozi's How I Made 1 Million in 30 Days for bold hooks. And what I really like to do is I like to take one or two things from a bunch of different channels, right? So just as an example of this, from Alex Hormozi's video, How I Made 1 Million in 30 Days, I took the bold hook. From Anik Singh's video, Email Marketing Secrets, I took the funnel focus. From Charlie Morgan's SMMA Scaling Guide, I took the authority. From Amy Porterfield's Webinar Strategy, I took the lead-driven CTAs. And then from Robbie Avabala's LinkedIn Prospecting, I took the conversational delivery. So I took a bunch of these different aspects of these different videos that I thought were pretty good. And then I asked Grok to extract the hook, structure, and CTAs of these videos. And then I like to save all that information in a Google Doc. So here's an example of how I save everything and have a record of it. So I just add everything to the Google Doc. And in the same document, you can just add another tab and rename it where you jot down your notes from a successful video in your niche. So here's how that would look. So step 4, we're going to create a 30-minute script with the 30-minute script formula. So this is where we use a simple 3-step formula to write scripts quickly and effectively. And it goes like this. You want to list 3 to 5, maybe in a longer video, more than that, right? Maybe like 5 to 10 key points for your video. Right? So an example, 5 ways to save money. We might list methods like cut subscriptions or automate savings. And then you also want to write an intro, a body, and an outro. So by the way, I'm going to show you how to write the script yourself. And I think it's important that you know how to do this before you use AI. However, later on, we're going to talk about how you can actually use AI to do this for you. So with the intro, you want to hook the viewer with a quick question. For instance, ever wonder where all your money disappears every month? Or if you don't want a question, you may answer these questions to formulate your own hook. For instance, what relatable problem or emotion can I tap into immediately? What question would make someone instantly say, yep, that's me? Or how can I signal that I understand their pain without lecturing them? And then put that right in the hook, right in the intro. And then promise the result. So to come up with that, you may answer these specific questions. What is the specific transformation or result that I'm promising if they watch this video? Or how can I phrase it so that it feels achievable and exciting? An example is in this video, I'll show you 5 simple strategies to save hundreds, if not thousands every year without feeling like you're sacrificing anything. And then when it comes to the body, we're going to just do 5 key points just to keep it simple, but you're basically just going to list these down in bullet point form. So ask yourself, what's a hidden opportunity or leak that they don't see? Now, this is something where you might have come up with these ideas on your own. You might come up with these ideas when you are looking at r/personal finance, or later on, you can even use AI to help you come up with these ideas as well. But the examples we're going to use here is 1, cut unused subscriptions, 2, automate your savings, 3, master the art of meal prepping, 4, use cashback and reward programs, and 5, buy secondhand when possible. And then when it comes to the outro, you want to ask yourself, how can I make them feel inspired to act? To be more specific, ask yourself these questions. How can I summarize the video quickly without losing energy? And then when it comes to the call to action, what is one simple action the viewer can take right now? Or how do I make them feel like they belong? E.g. a comment or a subscribe. So as an example, you could say, pick just one of these to start today and you'll be shocked at how fast your savings grow. And then you could have them do a specific call to action, maybe to do a lead magnet to get on your email list, maybe to book a call with you, maybe to get on your landing page, maybe to take some type of free training, or whatever your goal is. So for instance, if the goal of the video was to increase your subscribers, then you would do a call to action to tell them to subscribe. So that's where it comes back to the goal. So just to keep things simple, the goal of this video is going to be to get subscribers, but usually you're going to have a goal that's more monetization oriented. So in the case of this video, our goal was just to get some subscribers, so we would put a call to action to subscribe to the channel. Now, step 2 is identify the main points and then add 2 to 3 sub points under the main points. So for all 5 of the points that you made, you want to basically include 2 to 3 sub points that will help them accomplish the main point. So just as an example, for cut subscriptions, you could include audit monthly bills and cancel unused services. And to come up with the main points and sub points, you may ask yourself questions as well. For instance, for the main point, what's a hidden opportunity or leak they don't see? And for the sub point, what are the easiest first steps plus the best tools to use? So an example here would be cut unused subscriptions, and the sub points would be audit your monthly bills, streaming services, software, gym memberships, cancel anything you haven't used in the last 30 days, and use subscription management apps like Rocket Money or Truebill. The second main point would be automate your savings, and the sub points would be set up automatic transfer to a savings account each payday, start small, $10 to $50 per paycheck, and then increase over time, and use apps like Acorns to round up purchases automatically into savings. And I'll just go ahead and show you the rest of them on the screen just so I don't have to read them out loud, but you see my point here. So add anecdotes, data, or visuals. For instance, I saved $200 by canceling Netflix, here's how, with a screenshot of a budget. And use storytelling to make points memorable. And then answer the question, how can I show, not just tell? An example of this is cut unused subscriptions, show a screenshot of a subscription audit from Rocket Money. So Rocket Money is an app that basically audits your subscriptions, and it can tell you which ones you're still paying for, but you're not using. And then a quick screen recording canceling a service, right? So that's an example of visuals or proof that you could show on the screen while you're talking. For automate your savings, you have a story plus a visual. So you'd want to share a short personal story, like I started with just $25 per paycheck, barely noticeable, and a year later, I had $1,300 saved without lifting a finger. Then you could use a visual showing a bank app screen with growing savings over time. For the third one, master meal prepping, visual idea, you could show a Sunday meal prep session and then highlight the cost comparison, $50 grocery trip versus $200 weekly takeout bill, etc., etc. So here's the rest of them. You can pause the video and check them out if you'd like. For the tools, you could use Google Docs to outline your script. Here's how I did it. I basically just listed everything down, the questions for all the main points and all the subpoints. So intro, hook questions, promise questions, mini story questions, etc. So you can kind of see us adding in some subpoint questions. So for instance, what's the first simple step someone can take today? Or are there any easy tools or apps that can lower the friction of doing this? So you can see us adding all of these in. You can pause the video and check it out if you'd like. And then I answered every question and placed it in a different tab to stitch everything together. So structure your script to hook viewers, deliver value, and drive action. So next you would want to basically choose your script style. So at this point, you basically have kind of a skeleton script and you've got some really good bullet points, and you could even just record the video on your own at this point if you're, decent at impromptu speaking or just talking off the top of your head. But you kind of want to write out an actual style for how to write the script. So at this point, the easiest way to do this is to very simply either have some of your own writing that you've done in the past, or what you can do is you can find somebody who has a sort of speaking or writing style that you really enjoy. This could be another YouTuber, this could be someone who writes on the internet, etc. But you'd basically want to find either an inspiration video or an inspiration writing style, and then you can plug that into the AI with the script outline that you currently have. So for instance, we can reference a successful video for tone and style. Just as an example, we could model after Graham Stephan's casual data-driven style. So we can go into this video, for instance, go to the description, go to transcript, copy it all, and then paste it into Claude. Then if you want to, you could include a main SEO keyword, for instance, Save Money 2025, and the title, intro, and description. The intro should be 0 to 30 seconds ideally. The hook should start with a bold question or stat. An example of that would be, what if you could save $1,000 this year without cutting coffee? Then the CTA could be for people to pick up, some sort of lead magnet. So for instance, in this video earlier, we did a custom GPT hook generator. And then you could introduce value, right? Explain what the viewers will gain from the video. I'll share 5 proven strategies to save big. And then you could cover 3 to 5 key points with subpoints, data, and stories. Use transitions like next, let's talk about, for instance, to maintain flow. And then for the outro, you can summarize key points and include a strong CTA. For instance, download my free guide below or subscribe to the channel. And then for the tools, you can write in Google Docs or Google Slides for easy editing and presentation mode. And of course, for the AI, I highly recommend using Claude. So this is how you would do the intro. And again, you can either just write this on your own or you can have Claude help you to write it. I do recommend at first you try to write things on your own a little bit just so you understand how to do it better. And then later on, after you kind of got a little bit of an understanding, then you can use AI. So you can see it on the screen. You can pause it if you'd like, but you can see that we really have a lot of things here that are really good. So we've got a structure for each one of them. We've got some important points, some important subpoints. Then we've got some anecdotes and some visual ideas, etc. For the automate your savings part, we added a personal story to the second one, etc., etc. So we have some really good personalized details here now. Now that you have the personalized details, now that you have the human touch, this is where it's a really good idea to introduce AI. And if you just did AI from the get-go, you'd probably have a script that's somewhere between like a 6 or 8 out of 10. But if you add in your own personal details and human touch before you use the AI, then you can get a script that's like an 8 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. So this is where you would leverage AI like Claude to streamline script writing while maintaining authenticity. So you could create a Claude project. The paid version is about $20 per month. So to be honest with you, what we typically do, which we're not going to do in this video, but what we typically do is we upload marketing data from our audience. So like the audience avatar, that kind of thing, obviously the niche. Then we'll upload kind of content philosophy, which the way we found that is we just took, for the second channel where I talk about YouTube, for instance, we just took my YouTube course, we distilled it down a little bit, and then we uploaded that as content philosophy. You can also upload client testimonials. Just make sure that if you upload client testimonials, you do exact quotes. So you have to get the transcript from the testimonials. And then I also recommend giving some sort of context, like where the client started out, where they ended up, etc., because it'll help the AI to put those client testimonials seamlessly into your content in a way that's not awkward. And if you want to, you could put in sample scripts too, although this is optional, and I do find that sometimes sample scripts will result in a subpar outcome. So this is something that you kind of want to mess with a little bit. All right, now when it comes to the prompt itself, I'm going to give you kind of the prompt on the screen now. If you want, I'll just put it on the screen, but then I'm going to tell you actually how we created this prompt, because chances are your stuff is going to be a little bit different than our stuff. And so if I show you how the cake is baked rather than just giving you the cake once it's already baked, I think that's more valuable. Okay, so here's what the prompt looks like on the screen. I'm just going to put it on like the final prompt on the screen. With that being said, what you want to do to create a prompt like this is what's known as the Context Goal Prompt Framework, or the CGP framework. So basically, context works like this. You'd say something that gives the AI context. I'm a YouTube scriptwriter in personal finance, targeting millennials. I'm writing a script for 5 proven ways to save $1,000 in 2025 with a casual, relatable tone. Then you'd move on to goal, which is create a 10-minute script that balances information and entertainment using hooks and anecdotes to boost retention like Graham Stephan style. Then for the prompt, generate a unique script with 5 ways to save money using the sample script in my project knowledge as template. So that's how it's done. You want to give it context, then you want to tell it what your goal is, and then you want to give it a prompt, and that's basically the exact direction that you want it to do. So it's basically like a command, right? And the process works like this. If you're having AI generate your outline for you, then you would do that. If you've already made your own outline, then just skip to the next part. Then you would refine with a full script prompt incorporating your list or Claude suggestions. And then you would add personal touches, right? So you try to add some personal touches first when you're writing the outline, but sometimes it doesn't turn out exactly what you want and you'll think of other things. And so you can add the personal touches like screenshots, anecdotes, stories, etc. that AI can't provide at the end, right? So after the full script has been written. And then you want to enter the calls to action. This is the next step. So here's what that would look like. You can pause the screen and check it out if you want. Then you want to enter calls to action. So it's very easy to forget to do this part. And you might have multiple calls to action per video. For instance, you might tell somebody to hit the like button towards the first 10, 20 seconds of the video. And then you might tell somebody to comment a few minutes into the video and then share a few minutes after that, et cetera, et cetera. So make sure you put those calls to action into the videos because they are very important. Now, generally speaking, for actually trying to monetize, getting somebody to click on a link, either to go off of YouTube, to get for a free course, or to get a lead magnet, or to go on a landing page, or to watch a webinar, or whatever it is, getting them off of YouTube for the purpose of either directly or indirectly making money from them. Typically, you want to do those CTAs somewhere between 5 to 7 minutes into a 15+ minute video. And if it's less than 15 minutes, probably do it about 3 to 5 minutes into the video. This way you get maximum upside with minimum downside. You'll still get a lot of people who actually see that part and they end up clicking on it, but it won't take out so many of your people that it actually destroys your watch time. Another really good tip is to use commanding language, like hit the like button, right? Like hit the like button below and then tell them to do it. Don't ask them to do it, tell them to do it, versus saying, please like the button, that would be great. That's not as commanding. And then avoid signaling the end of the video and instead basically tell them to watch another video and tell them why they should watch that other video. And then step 7, and this is a very important step, and this is something where it's really going to save you a lot of time, not only when you're making your own scripts, but if somebody else is making your scripts for you, this is probably literally the most important step out of all the steps, and that is to make your script anti-fragile. So you want to design your scripts to adapt to changes without losing quality. So just as an example, if somebody else is writing your script for you, if it is 5 ways to save money, you want them to do 8 to 10 ways, and then you choose which ones you like, and you only talk about 5 of them. If you are doing a script on intros, you want to write 3 to 5 intros. Another thing you can do is the intro is something you really want to nail. So if you have your script writers writing intro, or even if you're just having AI doing intros, have it do 3 to 5 intros, and then chances are you will like one of them. For example, you could do a question-based intro, a story-based intro, et cetera, and then just choose the best during the recording. So you can see this is literally what we do in our videos, and this is what we do on this script. Another strategy to make things anti-fragile is to use flexible transitions. To use phrases like, another great tip is, instead of, as we saw in point 3, because you want to make your points almost like puzzle pieces where you can just put them together in any way that you want. So you wouldn't want to say the next tip, tip 4, is XYZ, you just want to say another great tip, or the next tip is, because that makes it easy for you to rearrange and put things together in whatever way you want in the post-production and editing process. So here's some example of different intros that we just generated with Claude. I'll put them up on the screen. You can check them out. And another amazing thing you can do is actually give instructions to your video editor in the script itself. Just as an example, you could say, insert Glassdoor screenshot here, or even during your recording, while you're talking, you can say, cut this and add B-roll of my budget app. You can just give instructions to your video editor during recording, which is great too. And some other tips is you want to test intros by recording all options and selecting the strongest. And then you can save unused content for future videos to maximize efficiency. And remember, all of this can be done with AI, and the prompts are going to be down in the description in the pinned comment below, so definitely check those out. But step 8 is to review and finalize. And this is where either you or your creative director, somebody who has a really good eye for detail and they know exactly what you want, are going to review and finalize your video. So you're basically just going to polish your script, make sure there's no obvious mistakes, which there shouldn't be very many mistakes on the video. That is something that your creative director absolutely should be catching. So basically, I like to read the script aloud to check flow and natural delivery, because you are going to be delivering it on camera. So for some, like certain types of scripts, I've had it to where it kind of sounds like a textbook, and it's just very difficult to read on camera. And it also just doesn't sound natural at all. So read the script aloud, you just check the flow and natural delivery, right? Verify data accuracy, for instance, salary figures, job listings, etc. Now, when it comes to this kind of thing, if you want to include screenshots, for instance, like on our main channel, we talk about remote jobs and we include screenshots from places like Glassdoor. In that case, you would actually just put the screenshot in many cases, or you could have somebody else do it. It doesn't take that long. It might take 5 minutes for a script, but it does give it that little extra polish. and you're also going to make sure that the actual data is accurate, because even if it is accurate at the time you write your script, by the time the video actually comes out, or by the time the video editor starts editing the video, it may not be accurate anymore. However, if you just have a screenshot, you've locked it in, right? You can use that screenshot. And then you want to ensure that the CTAs are clear and strategically placed. So obviously your main CTA should be the purpose of the video, but the other CTAs are great too, like the video, subscribe, etc., etc. And if you really want to enhance things, some things that are very difficult for AI to do well is to do things like adding personalized B-roll notes. So an example of this would be show a meme of overspending at 3, and then you actually like insert the meme itself into the script. For instance, I researched 50 budgeting apps to find these 5. And then you would want to finalize it, save the script as a Google Doc or slide for teleprompter use if you're using a teleprompter. You can also black out the background of the script and then make the text white for readability, and then you can use it with the teleprompter as well, and it'll look just like a teleprompter. Or you can use a teleprompter app. We recommend the Elgato teleprompter. It's really good. It also has a pedal that comes along with it, where you can just go up and down just by clicking the pedal. And then you can either copy or paste onto your teleprompter, or you can use the Google Doc and the Elgato teleprompter basically on your screen as the teleprompter, whatever you prefer. And then of course, if you're just doing bullet points, like I said before, you can either put the bullet points on the teleprompter right in front of you, or what you can do is you can actually just put them on a flashcard or a whiteboard and then just kind of talk impromptu off the top of your head. And bullet points do work extremely well. I have a lot of clients that just use bullet points and they like those. I also have a lot of clients that like to use teleprompters, and they would just want to read it directly off of it. And so you can practice your delivery, so you can read the script aloud to ensure that it sounds naturally, and then you can use a teleprompter or flashcards for support. Basically, a big tip here is have an anti-fragile mindset, right? Embrace imperfections. Scripts are never going to be absolutely perfect. There's always going to be a few things that go wrong, or a few things that you didn't see, or something else that you think about adding, in the middle of recording. You're like, oh shoot, I wish I could have added that. And a lot of the time you can just mention it in your recording. For instance, you could say in the recording, I'm just doing this as an example, by the way, so editor, don't do this. Don't actually make this change. But you could say earlier when I was talking about saving money by budgeting groceries, could you include an example of a crock pot, and how I bought a crock pot during college. So include this as an example of me talking about a crock pot. Yeah, I bought a crock pot during college and it was really amazing. I saved so much money, and I would just put it on in the morning, and by the time I came back from classes, it would be ready. Or I'd put it on at night, and by the time the morning came, I would have a fresh soup ready for me, right? So that's something that they could add into the part of the video, and the editor can see that and then add it into the earlier part of the video. So embrace an anti-fragile mindset, because it's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be a few things that you get wrong, and you can just make it work along the way. Also, understand that storytelling is a moat. So share your unique story, right? I overcame 6 figures in debt. I was homeless as a kid. I moved to this place. I lived in this place. I grew up here. I was a pharmacist, et cetera, et cetera. Tell as much about your story as possible, because other people can copy just about anything, but the one thing they can't copy is your story. And then honestly, especially if you're early on in your YouTube journey, just upload immediately, right? Record and post your first video immediately to overcome procrastination and overthinking. And if you are uploading your first video, probably don't spend too much time editing it. Try to just do a raw, authentic cut with maybe just some bullet points. And that's just going to be the best for you, because there's a lot to learn when it comes to making videos. And if you try to do everything perfect, you'll probably do everything wrong, right? So just good enough is better than perfect. And then learn from the pros. Watch your favorite channels that you like watching all the time, and then just understand how they made the video, right? Try to think in your head. Don't watch it from a viewer's perspective, but watch it from a creator's perspective. And think in their head like, I wonder what the script is. I wonder how they were reading this. Were they reading it from a teleprompter, or were they reading it from bullet points? Were they reading it, maybe the script was off to the side, right? I don't recommend doing that, but that's one thing you can do. Did they write the B-roll into the script, or was it something that they added in post? right? You can ask yourself all these questions and basically just become a student of the game. When you're watching your favorite channels, try to think, how did they create those videos? And how did they organize the creation of those videos so that it was a streamlined process? So if you are a content creator that struggles with writing scripts, you're spending way too much time writing scripts, or if you're a business owner and you just feel overwhelmed when it comes to writing good scripts and putting out good information for your clients, and you really want to be able to put out really good information, really high quality, valuable videos, while not spending so much time on them, and doing it efficiently and doing it in a way that's sustainable, then go ahead and book a call with us down in the description and the pinned comment below, because that's exactly what we help people do. Now, someone that was spending a ton of time writing scripts, and it was really taking up a lot of time. They were actually spending over 8 hours on every single YouTube video they made, which was a problem because they were a CEO of a 7-figure business trying to scale to 8 figures, was Thomas. And Thomas, with my help, we were able to set up systems for making content efficiently. And we took his 8 hours per video. So if he was making 3 videos per week, that was like 24 hours per week. We took that time, took it down to 0 hours. So he literally wasn't even recording the videos himself. He actually just had somebody else record the videos for him. And if you want to hear an interview that I did with him and the story on top of it, go ahead and check that out by clicking right here.